So our group was the Humanities group. Um, and so a lot of my group actually isn't here today. So I'll just be going over what they wrote in the website. So Introduction to Humanities, the intermixing of theory and history. So through this project, a lot of our students realize that humanities in itself is actually a very large field. And so it encompasses fields such as culture, history, language, philosophy, art, and literature. It's more about critical thinking and communicative skills, as well as analyzing complex ideas and synthesizing unique thoughts. So we kind of generalize it into 5 different specializations. The first being art, literature, religion, philosophy, and history. With these majors, we found that the most popular would be art history, English literature, religious studies, philosophy, and just history. And through these, we kind of looked through the gray areas between social science as well as humanities. And we found that a lot of humanities actually overlaps with social science, history being a large field of that. And then we also listed some tracks. We know that the pre-law track is meant for future law students. And I don't believe there are any prerequisites for pre-law, but a lot of students do major in humanitarian fields, and as well as social sciences. So a lot of political science, a lot of English studies, a lot of literature. Yeah. And so moving forward, we also looked at the universities and colleges that were most famous for their humanities departments. And so we have the top 5 for the US. This isn't taking into account anywhere or like Oxford, Cambridge, but number 1 was Harvard, number 2 was Yale, number 3 was NYU, number 4 was Stanford, and number 5 was Columbia. And a lot of the student population, we found that a lot more than what we had expected was humanities, with Harvard having a student population of 35%, Yale having 38%, NYU having 22%, Stanford having 17%, and Columbia didn't have a body percentage. And moving forward from this, we also discussed the potential job opportunities that would be presented after getting a degree. And so what we found was that a lot of people who do go into humanities either go the law track or do go into business or study more into the postdoc. So we found that for just a couple, for literature, we see a lot of diplomats, interpreters, human resources. For philosophy, we see paralegals, ethics officers. And for history, there was librarian. There's also the history archivist. And so, yeah. And then we were also looking at, well, one of our students also did a whole section on like internships and opportunities outside of the regular norm. We found that for high school students and undergraduate students, also for the postdoc students, graduate students, we found that there were actually a couple of internships if you did want to go to a different route and look at different opportunities that were presented. And yeah, that was basically our project.